Oi, oi, YouTube! My name's Johnny Shield Detailing and welcome to episode 6 of the Blue Peril series, car glass cleaning and protection. See you in the video. So let me walk you through some of the tools, some of the products we've got on the trolley today, and I can walk you through some of the procedures as well at the same time. So we've got 2 microfiber towels from Kirkland, really handy Kirkland microfiber towels. They're going to be used to obviously do an IPA wipe down once we try and remove all the polish. We've got some Clearview glass cleaner and some Cheon microfiber glass cleaning towels, very good for cleaning the glass before we start. We've also got a Flex XCE polisher, force rotation, which is going to be very handy to remove some of the topical contamination that's on the glass. We've got the rayon pads. I got these from Elite Car Care. They come in a 5, they come in a 3. I also got a foam interface as well. And that's really important when it comes to glass polishing because as you well know, these pads are super hard. And when I've used these on a force rotation or these kind of devices, there's a lot of vibration. It's not very comfortable to use. You do need hard pressure when it comes to removing scratches, but that's not what we're trying to do today. We're not trying to remove scratches from the glass. We're just trying to remove the topical contamination on the surface, any water spotting, any of those kind of things that are on the glass, ready for a coating. Obviously, we've got the Cartec, love the Cartec. We've got some Cartec stretchy tape. This is quite cool, this tape. Feels a little bit like 2020 tape, so it's got an extra bit of bite to it, so it's not one of those low tack tapes that I like, but it's definitely gonna do the job, and it's very stretchy, stretches out really nice, and goes round corners really easily. We've also, this is the Seriglass glass polish, and also to coat with is gonna be the Rain Aid glass sealant. So that's all the stuff we're going to be needing to do this task, and I'm going to take you through now some of the procedures, masking up, how the cycling of the polish, how to remove the polish, and then we'll move on to coatings. So let's get into it. So as you can see down here, we've got already the passenger window already taped up. I'm going to show you on the rear window how I go about taping up. There's a little tip for that, so stay tuned for that one. Obviously you want to prepare the glass properly, so using the glass cleaner first, and then I always use a little bit of IPA just to remove any oils. If necessary, when you've obviously done the decontamination process, if you've polished the rest of the car, this should be clay bar the glass during that process. But if you're actually installing a glass Rain Aid or a ceramic coating for the glass, then you can go through and clay bar that if there is no correction done on the vehicle. Claying is a great way of getting rid of any bonded contaminants. So I'm going to go through the back window now. I'm going to show you how I tape up. There's going to be a nice little trick for you on that one. Let's try that again. Tape 2. So get yourself your Cartec tape, start off at the bottom, make sure the window's wound down first, making sure you're overlapping that just onto the glass slightly, because At the end of the day, you do not want to be getting any polishing residue left over on the rubbers. So just leave yourself a little bit of a window to work in. There we go. Work yourself onto the outside of the glass. Nice and stretchy, this tape, I tell you. Too stretchy. Get that in. And I'll just overlap that with the window. This is why I have the window open. I'll show you this in a second, why this is important. It's going to save you a lot of aggro. When I first did my first glass polishing, I did this with the window up. And this is like a revelation to me. Just tucking that in nice. So now, making sure you've got that rubber on the outside. And as you can see, this will go around corners phenomenal. I love this for all the trims, to be honest with you, when you're polishing. That just goes around the corner nicely. Anyone who's been doing machine polishing and taping knows how hard it is to get these little nooks and crannies nicely covered and taped up. So like having that access to the window makes life so much easier. So much easier. Excuse the planes out here, it is literally feels like Heathrow's landing. So just tucking that under now. This will give you a little bit of extra access when it comes to it. Cool. Put all in. So now I'm going to wind the window up, make life a lot easier. Let's see if that works. All good in practice. I feel like one of those guys from Art Attack. Look at that. Here's one I made earlier, guys. So that'll work really, really well. That's just going to give you that added extra protection now for the glass. This bit down here, just tuck that in. Nicely nice. There we go. Nearly got it there. Tony Hart would be impressed. Maybe some of you guys are too young to know who Tony Hart is. So there we go. So all taped up, and now we're ready to do some machine polishing. So as you can see, we've got the rayon pad attached to the back of the foam interface. That's now going to be dropped on there like so. Make sure that's all lined up so that you get the right throw. The last thing you want is that to be out of balance. Let's get ourselves some polish. Now, this could go everywhere, guys. So make sure sometimes, you know, it's important to do this before you're going to clean the car. Always give it a good shake. So the process is when you're machine polishing glass is, I would always recommend you can either do this before you wash the vehicle, but definitely I wouldn't bother doing it after, because this car's still got to be yet to be refined. So any splatter that goes off, it's going to get washed before I get to refine it. So this stuff can go everywhere at times. So always, again, wear your SGCB UK apron, which is always good. So we're going to put a little bit of product on. There's something really cool about this Seriglass product. I'll go into detail in a minute about how to remove it. Let's just drop that on there. Now you can see that there's a little bit more give in this pad now. And if you know, feel free if you want to test this polishing technique without the foam pad, if you want to remove any wiper blade marks on the front windscreen. But I just find this foam interface, just for removing any of the topical stuff, is going to be great. So once the pad is primed on the window, go ahead and add a little bit more polish. Start off on speed setting 1. And off you go.
You said you'd never lie to me, but now you're running around carefree. You said I'd be your only one, but now this love I had for you is done.
Here we have a little hand puck that you can buy from one of the affiliate links. I'll put the links down in the description. It's a great little hand puck. Attaching the foam interface and the pad, the 80mm pad to the back of this, you can use the seri glass, wherever it is. Pop this down, and those little areas that the machine polisher wouldn't get into, like these little corners, you just apply a little bit of more polish. And if you haven't got a machine polisher, this is a great tip on how to do it by hand. This is just going to allow me to get into all these corners and make sure that I've done the detailer's job. Edge work is where you really want to take most of your focus, because as you can see from what I've done here, when you do your edge work, when you're working with a machine and you're working up and down, this is always going to get a lot of work, and this is only going to get a slight amount of work. So getting the edge work in first is important, because then you can clear everything out from the middle. So as you see, as it dries, best way to remove seri glass is by using just normal H2O. And this is where you douse it in water, and you can use a nice little Kirkland microfiber towel, and that will remove all of the excess polish. As you can see, we will test the water behaviour in just a second, and it will tell us if there's any coatings left on it, any contamination left on it. And as you can see, there's no water beading, nothing at all. That is as hydrophilic as you can get it. As you can see, that's working really well, and that tells us that we've done a great job. So now we're ready for putting down some rain aid, some Juicy Details rain aid. This can give you up to 6 months protection on the vehicle, which is a very quick way of putting down a rain sealant. This will work very well when you reach over 40, 50 mile an hour. You'll start seeing that awesome beading effect on the windscreen, on the glass, and just make life a lot easier to clean in the future for maintenance washes. So let's strip this down. Let's get the tape off. Take off the tape. The next part is obviously to do a IPA wipe down. Open up the door, reverse the process, get this glass down. Make sure we get off all the adjoining tape. This is super sticky stuff, so you might have a little bit left over, and that's where doing the IPA wipe down works really, really well. A little bit of tape never always comes off as way you want it to. So as you can see, now I wind the window down. You can see there's a little bit of polish residue built up around there. So again, going in with some water, making sure we've got our water. There's some left over on there. Water is really good for removing seri glass. There we go. And now we can reverse the process. So we're going to go in with our Prestwell sprayer. We're going to use the nice, this has got such a cool little fine mist on this, and it's a double trigger action. So as you're pulling in, and as soon as you let off the trigger, it will spray twice. So as you can see, it saves you a lot more aggro. So starting with the top of the window, we just want to remove any polishing oils that are left over, anything that's on the trim. As you can see, that looks a lot better, a lot crisper. Now it's time to wind up the window back in its natural position. Continue that wipe down. CarPro Erase is really good for removing oils, removing any sealants, stripping back anything before ceramic coatings. It's a great little product. There we go. So The Rain Age, Juicy Details. Let's get it on a little buffing cloth. There we go. So spray away from you first. Make sure it's open. Brilliant. Onto the cloth. And just start buffing that on. This has got to be left for 5 minutes. So we'll leave that for 5 minutes now and come back to this in a minute and watch how this flashes off, ready for removal. So as you can see, after a few minutes already, with a liberal amount on there, you can start seeing it start to flash off. I had to use quite a lot as it was being absorbed by the towel. But yeah, that's what you're looking for. So a little top tip is when this is flashing off, move on to the next window, because by the time you finish this window, this one's going to be ready for buffing off. So now that 5 minutes has passed, we've got the Juicy Details Clear View, we've also got the Cheon microfiber, and we're ready to buff this off now. As you can see, it's flashed up quite nicely. So you can see the water behaviour just from popping that on there. Works really, really well. So apply this onto the glass, onto the cloth first, and just give that a really, really, really good buff. Flipping the towel over to the dry side. And as you can see, I can actually feel the slickness to this product, which is great, which is what we want. And whoever buys this car is now, by the time you watch this video, this is on eBay now. So if you're interested in buying this car for your son, your daughter, aunt, uncle, nephew, whatever, it's ready to go. So as you can see now, reflection is king. So the glass on the windscreen now is the next part of the process, and everything's been taped up, but just want to show you in here the build-up of what happens when the car is not maintained properly, and this build-up of water, lime scale, the whole 9 yards, all builds up here. And I'm going to give you a little top tip using Chemical Guys water spot remover and how to get rid of this before polishing. So here we got some Chemical Guys water spot remover. It's a little gel formula, and we've got a wax and away brush. Now this is a great little product to get rid of that lime scale right at the bottom. So just apply it to the brush. It's safe on glass and it's safe on all plastics. So just run that down the edge. Brushing that in. Now these wax and away brushes, they're chemical resistant, and you'll leave that for roughly around 3 to 4 minutes as per instructions, and just buff it off with, if you're using this on any other part of the vehicle, you can use it on the trims around the badges and just buff it off with a quick detailer, or just when you're doing a decon, you can use it as a final rinse. So I'm just going to apply a little bit to the microfiber and then get in there, just buff this. Add a little bit of agitation. This is always good just to do before you're going to glass polish, because it's always really, really hard to get into these little areas on the edge work. Agitation is key. You can see some of the grime coming off now from the rubbers. Dry it off, flip the towel. And as you can see now, might take a few more applications on here. As you can see, that's started to lift up this area here, and definitely started to make a bit more of a mark in this area here. It's going to take a few more hits, but that's definitely starting to lift. So last but not least, let's get this sunroof done and then we're finished. Got to say, this is awesome. Having the battery operated Flex is just making a huge difference. So the reason why I don't need to tape up here is because there's a nice separation between the glass and also with the force rotation, the throw is only 2mm. So it's a bit like a rotary, I can be much more precise, as you can see in the earlier videos. I used to be a painter and decorator. I'm an avid little painter and decorator. And obviously as a hairdresser, I'm used to getting up close. So my hand-eye coordination, as you can see, I can get up really close to the edges. You know what, for safety, if you've not done this before, always recommend tape up. But like anything, when you become experienced at something, there's always ways around things. There's always a risk with everything. Just to let you know that the Flex has lasted the whole way through. I've only done this whole car doing the glass and she's still rocking. Cerium oxide is water soluble as well with Ceriglass, so it really helps. So on the last section, so as I said, Ceriglass It's water soluble, you use water to remove it, so as long as you rinse the car off, this is going to get a wash straight off after this, and then this is going to be ready for episode 7, refining. Give this a little rinse off, add some water to it. Any over splashes. This car is looking sexy. So let me know down in the comment section, what would you do next? Are you someone who likes to coat the trim? Do you like to coat the trim before you refine? Or would you prefer to do the trim after you refine? I don't think there's a right or a wrong, but I definitely think there's always about efficiency. I personally find that because with the trim, the polish and the abrasives on a refinement polish, we're going to be using Essence. What I tend to find is that it doesn't really leave any staining on the trims, and as you can see, I've cheated a little bit. You guys are not getting the full one after the other because the trim on this one has already been done. Spoiler alert. So what that means is that I didn't get the chance to have a decent camera to do the trim dyeing video, but I would definitely show you the new applicator I've got from Carscope for the trim. I definitely need to finish off dressing, but I did use Solution Finish to dye the trim, which was a great success. So there'll be more videos on Solution Finish coming out very soon. As you can see, the water behaving nice and flat now. None of that water spotting. Whoever's going to buy this car is going to get an absolute bargain. So there we go, guys. That was one hell of a 50-50 on the windscreen, and it's amazing how well these products perform in these environments and these scenarios. So if you like this style of video, feel free to leave me a little comment down in the comment section. And also, I've got a little product code for you today called OIOI15, and if you head over to Juicy Details website, use OIOI15 and you'll get 15% off the Juicy Details products. Rain-Aid has been on the vehicle now for a little over a month and it is performing outstanding, so I highly recommend this product. But you let me know down in the comment section what products you like to use for your windscreen protection. As always, you can follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. You can also DM me on all those sites if you want any tips, any tricks. Or you can just hit me up in the comments section on YouTube and I'll try and answer your questions as fast as possible. As always, you can find on my link tree, there is a lot of product codes to all sorts of different companies that support the Johnny Shield Detailing Network. If you want to be part of our Oi Oi community, head over to Facebook. We've got an Oi Oi community hub where you can join like-minded people who just love talking about detailing products and detailing activities. So this has been the end of the video, which has been car glass cleaning and protection. And I will see you in episode 7 for the refining episode of the Blue Peril series. Thanks guys for watching, and as always, hit that thumbs up button and that subscribe button. And also let me know down in the comment section what you think of this style of video. Thanks for your patience, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.